you'd like to take a minute at the beginning to tell me a little bit about who you are and who I am?
All right. My name is David Tamez, and this is my colleague Charlotte Rocha. You are the executive board of Coca-Cola, and we are here to talk to you about about reassessing your sponsorship of FIFA.
Okay.
And this is a bit different from the executive summary we have in the booklet. So
Fine. Okay. I will start now. Welcome and begin.
thank you for having us here today. I would like to first address why we are here. You, Coca-Cola, are here to reassess your continued sponsorship of FIFA. You have been one of the longest sponsors of FIFA, and now, due to the recent activities of FIFA, you are now reassessing that sponsorship. I would like to now address what those concerns are. In the past few years, in the past World Cup, beginning in 2010 in South Africa, FIFA established what were called FIFA courts. These courts promised swift justice and harsh punishments. Initially, these courts were welcomed by the citizens of South Africa. However, after the punishments were known, they backtracked their acceptance of these courts. Example of their imbalanced punishments includes a crime of theft in which the subject was brought in on a Tuesday, tried on a Wednesday, and began his sentence of 15 years on a Thursday. Very little time for adequate representation of his rights. Then, in the most recent World Cup, you had, in 2014 in Brazil, there were issues of human rights violations and the temporary suspension of laws that were actually better for your community, better for your citizens. Brazil, in order to build the 12 stadiums they needed for the World Cup, ended up displacing many of their citizens to erect these stadiums. And some of these stadiums were built in areas that are unreachable. Therefore, once the World Cup is finished, they can no longer be accessed. They will no longer be used for anything else. Then in the next coming up World Cup in 2018, in which it will be in Russia, you have the obvious concerns of Russia's aggression towards the country of Ukraine, and then also its treatment of same-sex or homosexual citizens in their country, going so far as to pass a law giving their police the right to arrest any foreign nationals or tourists they suspect of being homosexual and detain them for 14 days. Then in Qatar, the issue here is their labor institution of kafala, which allows immigrants to come in and receive a visa, but once they receive the visa, they have to hand it over to their employer, which is their sponsor in the country, so that they may stay in it. If the individual wants to move to another country or wants to move to another employer, they must receive the permission of their supervisor at the company they are working at the time. Sometimes these employers are unable to pay these immigrants, which results in a slave-like labor system institution. And this was only confounded, this system of slavery, of modern-day slavery, is only confounded once Qatar received the rights to hold the World Cup. A great deal of deaths have occurred, and the United Nations has projected that nearly 4,000 may die as a result of the World Cup and the need for more stadiums. Now this gets into why is Coca-Cola concerned with these issues, with what FIFA is doing? Well, as a sponsor of FIFA, you are first concerned with your brand image, and which is a representation of your identity in the global community. As a result of this, or to take this a bit further, you must ask, what is the result of the aftermath of perception of Coca-Cola and its identity if it were to continue its acceptance, its support of an organization that ignores these sort of unethical actions and these concerns? your values, these actions do not live up to do not represent your values. Your mission statement states that you are here to refresh the world in mind, body, and spirit, to inspire moments of optimism, and to create value and make a difference. If you were to continue your sponsorship of FIFA, you would be contradicting your own mission statement. If you were to continue your sponsorship of FIFA, an organization that does accept these faults of other countries, you are saying that you may not necessarily be saying you accept these conditions, but you are tacitly supporting the operations of these countries and by supporting FIFA. You are not inspiring optimism in the citizens of these countries. You are not making a difference. You are not refreshing their mind, body, and spirit when we have citizens or immigrants in Qatar that are undergoing great lengths or tumultuous emotions and points to the body because of its slave-like labor in Qatar. Our solution here, first and foremost, is forming a public pact with other sponsors in the form of a solidarity agreement. In this solidarity agreement, sponsors pledge not to sign any contract with FIFA until these concerns are met. The concerns or these qualifications that ought to be met include but are not limited to overhauling your selection process of bids by countries that want to have the World Cup. And then second, to overhaul or turn the corner on the issue of transparency. Recently, FIFA has been under public scrutiny for its lack of transparency. One example of this is one of your members of the FIFA Ethical Board resigned because his 400-page pamphlet or his study on the behavior of FIFA, which did speak of actions of corruption and accepting of bribery in the case of Qatar, and it was redacted, to which the public version of it came down to 30 pages. Now, our next solution is to overhaul your ethical decision-making by implementing a framework. Now, for this framework, I'll now hand it over to my colleague, Shala Rocha.
Thank you. Our fundamental issues with FIFA boil down to a lack of respect and recognition in FIFA's actions. FIFA is using its corporate sponsors, organizations, and other human beings as means to a profit-oriented end. This stands at odds with our core mission. FIFA exercises little to no restraint in its actions, leaving us, as its sponsors by proxy, in a reactive role. Consider this. If I drop a plate right now, or I take your glass, I drop it on the floor, and apologize for it, that's not going to fix it, is it? Neither are FIFA's apologies going to solve the issues that are going on in South Africa, or that have happened in South Africa and Brazil, and that are going to occur during the building of the 2018 World Cup, or the World Cup in Qatar. We advocate for taking a more proactive role. We want to minimize risk and erase issues before they happen. We are more than a profit-oriented machine. We are Coca-Cola. We are here to utilize our product and our resources to refresh the world, inspire moments of optimism and happiness, and to create value and make a difference. To that end, we believe that the following virtues stand at the heart of our business: integrity, compliance, transparency, and accountability. Without these, we cannot take responsibility for our operations. We cannot collaborate toward the respect of human, environmental, and labor rights in our global operations. Our solidarity agreement proposes short-term goals and long-term goals. For our short-term goals, we want to pressure organizations like FIFA to reform their ethical behavior, to mitigate risk, and that prevents damage to profits, of course, but also toward environmental, human, and labor rights around the world. For our long-term goals, we hope to establish a precedence. We want to maintain high ethical standards. We want to show that maintaining these high ethical standards are not at odds with generating profit. It can be done. This revolutionary approach to business has the potential to strengthen our ethical standards in our global operations, but also allows us to expand our corporate efforts to achieve global sustainability and to further the human rights community around the globe. Thank you very much for having us today.
You win the award for landing right at 10 minutes on the second.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. I may have just a couple minutes of your time. If I could sum all this up, this whole session, then I could do it in one word. Wow, this was great. The unfortunate thing for you is that you've all ended up in a bracket of very, very smart, good presenters with great material. So that's good news and bad news. So I thank you for these presentations. I only teach graduate school back at the University of St. Thomas. I only teach MBA students. And I had to remind myself time and time again that you're undergrads, because you are giving...
Oh, we are graduates.
Oh, you are graduates? All right. Thank you for reminding me of that. I was judging undergrads yesterday. I thought I was the whole time. In that case, okay, well, then you're all wonderful graduate students. Excellent. What I think you understand, and this is the important part of ethics, is it's not about answers, it's about questions. And so what we were looking for in this whole competition is, what is the analysis piece? And I commend you for coming up with those pieces. If anything is cut and dried and it's a yes or no situation, well, maybe ethics is not necessarily the label that you want to put on it. And it's fun to, I was talking to other people in the hotel who are not part of our conference here, and they asked me the question, what is business ethics? And it's always an interesting sort of exercise in trying to explain to someone who's never had a class in business ethics just what it is. And I try, and they look at me, and so it's about what you're supposed to do. And I said, well, maybe. It could be about what you're supposed to do.